I guess, welcome again. Thanks for you guys being flexible and being able to jump from one Zoom to the other. We are very excited that we had so much interest and commitment for the STEM.LD project. I think we had 28 schools that have committed to participate in the STEM.LD study, 28 middle schools that have committed to participate in the study. So that was really amazing, and we're excited to start working with the schools that end up being randomized into the treatment group. And those who are randomized into the control group will be able to work with the program, just delayed for 2 years. So welcome, Richard. We were just thanking everyone again for their flexibility and patience with the technology. So I think as we're waiting to make sure that everyone, looks like the same people that were in the last meeting are here now. But I did just want to go over just a couple of things first, that this particular grant was funded as a research study through the US Department of Education. And as such, somebody, do I have?
You can leave it here if you want. I'm going to be here.
Not talking to me. Okay. So because this was funded from a US Department of Ed grant, and it's funded as a research study, that's the reason and the rationale why we are taking this randomization approach. They want to know if the STEM.LD program is effective in improving student outcomes. And so to do that in the most rigorous way possible, we have to do a randomization. So we have schools who are going to be part of the program for 2 years. We're going to have schools that are going to continue doing exactly what they would have been doing if this grant didn't exist for 2 years. We'll look at outcomes at the end of that. And then after those 2 years, the schools that are randomized into the control group will have access to the program supports. And it's really, really important. Like, I can't emphasize enough how much we appreciate schools being willing to take it into chance whether you'll be getting the program or not getting the program. It's really important for us from the research perspective to be able to study and capture data and information about what's going on in the schools that are part of the program, but then also understanding what's happening in schools that aren't part of the program. The control schools play just as important of a role as the treatment schools for our understanding of what works and what doesn't work. So we want to make this process as transparent as possible. So that's why we are doing this randomization live today, and we're recording it for anyone who wasn't able to join our meeting live. As Richard said, just a few minutes, you guys will all know if your school is being randomized into the treatment group or the control group. So first, I actually just need a volunteer to pick a number 1, 2, or 3, and I'll explain why in just a minute. So I'm gonna pick Catherine because she was the first person who joined the first meeting. So which
3.
number do you want, 1, 2, or 3?
3.
3, awesome. So again, I've actually never met Catherine before. A few minutes ago was the first time. I feel like I'm a magician. I've never met her before. She's not in on this trick. So the reason that I asked for a number, I'll show you why in just a second. So I'm going to share my screen so that you guys can see the entire process. And you're picking of the number 3. You're not setting yourself up for being a treatment or control. I just needed a number. So now hopefully the screen sharing will also work. And can everyone see my screen now? You see just a spreadsheet? Great. So on this screen, you'll see hopefully your school's name somewhere in this list of 28. These are the 28 schools that agreed to participate in the study. So we just have the school name, county. This is a rural program, or it was funded under a rural priority. So we want to know that if the school is classified as rural or not. And then I just have a school ID number. What I'm going to do is take these 3 columns of the rural status and a school ID number, and I'm going to move them into a completely blank sheet. So there's nothing in this sheet right now. So now what we have is just the school ID numbers. Maybe you were able to memorize your school ID number in those couple of seconds. Probably not. You might know where you are alphabetically, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make 3 different columns of random numbers, and Excel has a function where it creates random numbers. They're between 0 and 1. None of them are repeating. So I'm just going to do that 3 times. Third set of random numbers. So now I have 3 columns of random numbers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to paste these as a number. So I don't know if you noticed when I was putting the formula in, the numbers are changing and bouncing all over the place. So I don't want them to continue to change. With the Excel formula, it's just going to constantly create a random number between 0 and 1. So now I have pasted these random numbers in. I pasted them back as values. So you see that they are no longer bouncing around when I go from screen or from cell to cell. So the next step in the process, I am just going to sort the data. And the reason that I asked Catherine for a number 1 to 3 is that I have those 3 columns of random numbers. And so I'm going to sort the schools based on the 3rd column, R3. So there I have the numbers, they're sorted by R3. Next, so again, just randomly created numbers, sorted it from lowest to highest. Now I'm going to ask Ayaka to flip a coin, and her coin flip is going to determine if we start assigning schools in this randomly ordered list. Are we going to start with treatment, or are we going to start with control? And so we'll just go treatment, control, all the way down the list. So Ayaka, if you can flip your coin and tell me if it lands on heads or tails.
Oh, shoot. Well, it landed on the floor heads.
Okay. So landed on heads. What you see in this next sheet is I pre-filled if it landed on heads, starting with treatment, if it landed on tails, starting with control. So I'm just going to copy this list over. So there we go. We have heads and tails. Schools are now assigned. What I'm going to do, since the first sheet was sorted by the school number, I'm just going to sort back by school ID. And I like to keep both of these together. So now I have the assignment status and the school ID. We're going to go back to that first sheet and paste in the assignment status. And I want to verify that I did sort correctly. Oh no, I did not sort correctly. I have a different school. Oh, this is not what was supposed to happen. So let me go back to my randomization page. I'm going to try sorting one more time, make sure that they're in numeric order. I might have to sort on the schools to be randomized list. Maybe that was my trouble. Okay. And yeah, on the randomization page, this is where the randomization is, the school ID and the assignment. So I just want to make sure that we have it sorted the same way. There's nothing going on. So one more time. Okay, and I'm glad that I double checked that. Okay, so now what we see is the list of schools. So the school IDs are matching all the way down with how the randomization, the assignment was treated. So one more time, I am just going to sort, and I'm going to sort by assignment. So now what we see is the schools that I've highlighted here. So these 14 schools are going to be part of the treatment group. So Hampton Elementary, Happy Valley Middle School, Livesay Middle School, Del Rio Elementary, Greenville Middle, Hancock County Middle High, Bulls Gap School, Jefferson Middle School, Morey Middle School, White Pine, Johnson County Middle School, Sullivan Heights Middle School, and Sullivan East Middle School, and Sulphur Springs. They will all be part of the treatment group starting soon. Schools that are part of the treatment group will be hearing from Law and Richard about next steps. Schools that are part of the control group, you will just continue on with school the way that you would otherwise. You will still be hearing from us in the next 2 years about some research related questions and some data collection. We are trying to minimize the amount of data collection that we're asking you to be involved in. For the most part, we're trying to use administrative records wherever we can. So that is the randomization. I want to open it up for any questions. If you have questions about the randomization process, I can definitely answer those. If you have questions about the STEM.LD program, I will defer to Law or Richard.
Hey, Laura, I would just like some more information on the program itself. We didn't get a whole lot of information about that. I had just heard about Algebra 1 and high school credit.
Richard?
Catherine, what school do you represent? Are you in the treatment group?
Yes, Happy Valley Middle School.
Okay, we are. It is a soft goal, not a hard, not a rule, but we're trying to be sure that kids that are ready for Algebra 1 in middle school have a chance. Whether or not they get high school credit for it is up to the district, but we want to be sure that their math skills for the most capable kids, let them go as far as they can, as quickly as they can with advanced courses. So we will absolutely be setting up a meeting with you in the next week or two to answer any of those specific questions. But we will consciously try to help your school. If you have enough students to schedule an Algebra 1 class, we will try to help you with the funds you need for that. We'll help you get a teacher license for that. But also, if it's a difficulty for you, we will also offer an Algebra 1 virtual class through our online program that might help some students while we get to that point. So there'll be different ways and different supports to try to help, especially our smaller schools that want to do that for some of their kids. We want to try to help that. So there'll be some options, and of course the school will be involved in the decision for that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Law, are you still there?
I am, yep.
Would you do me a favor while we're waiting for questions, and folks can, there's a small group for folks to just chime in. Would you read again for those people that are on phones? Would you read the names? Laura's voice is sometimes quite soft, and yours is a different voice, so maybe a different frequency, and repeating it will help those that are on the phone. So the treatment schools, please.
Yes, you may hear my 2-year-old in the background, so sorry about that. So the treatment schools are Hampton Elementary, Happy Valley Middle School, HV Livesey Middle School, Del Rio Elementary, Greenville Middle School, Hancock County Middle High School, Bulls Gap School, Jefferson Middle School, Maury Middle School, White Pine School, Johnson County Middle School, Sullivan Heights Middle School, Sullivan East Middle, and Sulphur Springs.
Thank you. And Laura, nothing about your voice, but I just wanted it to be repeated, and that we could be watching for the chat for questions.
I would say, like, thank you guys again so much for being interested and wanting to see this happening live. We wanted it to be as transparent as possible, despite some of our little hiccups along the way. But just so that you guys could all see that it really is a random process for how schools are assigned. Multiple ways that we randomize it throughout. We don't know who it is that we're putting into the conditions until we come back to this sheet and then see how it all is sorted out in the end. So we definitely appreciate your time. We appreciate your interest in wanting to participate in the study, participate in the program, and improve the outcomes of all of the students in your schools and your service area. So definitely appreciate it. And you will be seeing my face, Ayaka, my coworker, through the next few years as we are evaluating the impact of the program. But again, if you have any questions about this randomization process, I'm happy to answer those now or later. If, again, questions about the actual program, I will defer to Law and to Richard on that. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Hopefully everyone was able to see that, and I'll send the list back to Richard and to Law so that they have it handy if other questions come up.
Last chance for questions. If not, we'll wrap it up today, and we will put this recording up on the Niswonger Foundation YouTube page. We'll distribute that and have it sent out so everybody can get access to that. All right. Well, thanks for coming, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Thank you, guys.